In 30 years of being in business, being a tax advisor, and also advising businesses of all sizes of complexity, one tax that I come across which causes more headaches than others is the concept and the idea of VAT. In this week's video, I'm going to be looking particularly at the topic of reverse charging VAT. And it matters not whether you're VAT registered or not, it will affect you. Now, whether you're a business owner, a freelancer, or just somebody who has a curiosity in VAT, stick around while I go through the idea and the application of reverse charging VAT. Let's start from the beginning. Now, reverse charging VAT shifts the responsibility, shifts the burden from accounting for VAT from the seller to the actual buyer. In a normal VAT situation, it's the seller who has responsibility for figuring out the VAT and adding it to their invoice and providing it to their customer. Also, paying it over to HMRC if appropriate, but not so with reverse charging VAT. It's the buyer who steps into the shoes of responsibility here. Now, you might be thinking, why on earth does this go on the mood? Well, it's predominantly a fraud prevention measure. So, for example, in certain situations like construction, like provision of mobile phones, technology equipment, etc., some naughty people will pocket the VAT, not declare that to the tax authorities, and that's something that the tax authorities are not too happy with. Reverse charge payments, though, bring the sell outside of the VAT equation. It's a largely neutral situation here. There's no cash that changes hands, but it's a good measure to deal with that. Now, things like cross-border services, where your customer and seller are not in the same jurisdiction. In the construction industry, it also applies. And I'm going to be dealing specifically with construction in a later video, a later broadcast. But be aware that it's called a domestic recharge scheme here, but it does apply in construction. Now, let's deal with the idea of cross-border transactions. So in services or goods between the UK and other countries around the world, reverse charging VAT will apply. Now, this is more so in terms of B2B, but we're not talking about business to consumer where individuals are not VAT registered, but it's where you've got two businesses exchanging with each other. Now, let's assume, for example, your customer is based in France, you're based in the United Kingdom, they provide services to you. Now, there's no actual physical VAT that changes hands, but it's your responsibility to account for that VAT. You declare it as output VAT or your tax return or your VAT return. You also claim it as input VAT as well. You make the necessary adjustments to purchases and sales, hey presto, and you file that. Now, I said to you, if you're not VAT registered, it can also affect you as well, and that's perfectly true. So let's take something like Google Ad Services. Now, if you're a business based in the United Kingdom and you subscribe and use Google Ads to grow your business, a digital ad campaign, well, Google will reverse charge the invoice to you. So they provide that services to you. You are the buyer in this situation. Now, what will happen is, even though there's no physical VAT to pay over, the value of those services you're receiving from Google goes towards determining your VAT registration. And it's not unheard of, and I've come across, unfortunately, a few situations where a business is not realising that those reverse charge services add to the turnover, and they should have registered at a much earlier date. So be aware that even if you're not VAT registered, reverse charge services goes towards your registration limit itself. Now, in most situations, your accounting software, I hear you say, should cater and be able to take care of reverse charging VAT. There's a flag, there's a setting that does that. My recommendation of choice is Xero. I am a Xero accredited firm. My team members are also Xero accredited, but whether it's Xero or some other software that you might be using, make sure you get a handle on it and make sure you account for it correctly. Now, it can have a cash flow impact on you, so you need to make sure you're on top of that situation. And if you're cash flow planning, by the way, please do check out our show notes for Budget Whiz, which is a superb online platform, and we also got a free version as well. Folks, I hope you found that useful. If you have, let me know. I will be dealing with VAT reverse charging in the construction industry at a later date. But until now, Check out your situation, check out your reverse charging correctly, and make sure you don't fall foul of our friends at HMRC.